I created HopeStar back in 2015 under the premise of giving hope to struggling companies and to help those leaders of those companies grow both personally and professionally. And this idea or this concept came to me back in 1995. I met a guy named Rex Ferry who at the time gave me a chance, gave me hope. I didn't know where I was going in life. I didn't know what I was going to do. He brought me into his organization, VEC, and really taught me a lot over the years, which I'm so grateful for to this day. And so now our mission on all the companies I'm involved with, over 7 different companies, is to help struggling companies, to help companies grow, to help leaders grow. And so one of the companies we bought was Advantage Video and Marketing. And the main focus of Advantage Video is to help companies grow by celebrating all the good things they're doing. I think something that people would be surprised to learn about myself and the organizations that I'm a part of is the amount of struggle that goes on behind the scenes. A lot of us small business owners, small business leaders, carry ourselves pretty optimistic in the daylight, but what you don't see is all the challenges that go on behind the scenes. Sales is a never-ending battle. Cash flow is so important to keep the business up and running, and these are things that all small businesses go through. And when I left VEC in 2015 and started HopeStar, I was a little more naive. I kind of assumed that all companies out there were doing well and all they needed was a little small fix or a small tweak here or there. And what I realized is it is a lot of work, a lot of challenges to help keep companies going. So that is something that I think I can speak for many other small companies, that the challenges that go on behind the scenes are much greater than anyone ever realizes. I think people would be a little surprised to find out that I'm a little bit of an old soul. I like to listen to old music. Frank Sinatra is my favorite singer. Bing Crosby, the 40s, the 50s. Love crooner music. Also love to listen to radio classics, old-time dramas on the radio where the acting is all done. You have to envision it. It's kind of like reading a book, in an audio book in that case. And then some of my favorite shows are the old black and whites. Andy Griffith Show have every one of them on DVD. And so I think that old soul piece of it. For me, it's going back to a time when things were a little simpler, when social media didn't exist and the internet didn't exist. People were a little different on how they dealt with their day-to-days. Sitting down at dinner each night was the thing to do that day, and going out and having picnics. And I just really enjoy the thought of those times, and I find myself drifting back often to visit them. What really makes me feel good about the future is the number of entrepreneurs that are out there every single day working so hard to create things that are going to make our lives easier, whether it's hardware, software, any kind of technology, just better appliances, whatever that may be. There's so many people that are working so hard every day to do this, and the struggles and challenges that go into being an entrepreneur are a lot of people think small business owner, they have this great life and they have all kinds of money, and that's not the case. These entrepreneurs work really hard. They're challenged. There's some great inventors that we know from the past, the Thomas Edisons of the world, the Nikola Tesla, George Washington Carver. These are great inventors in the past that also went through a lot of struggles to get things accomplished. And a lot of times money wasn't their #1 factor, but they fought through it, and because of them, our lives are better. What concerns me most about the world today is that I think the line between opinion and fact is getting blurred, and I see a lot of individuals on social media, on TV, just in person, arguing over opinions. And opinions come from perspective that we have, and our perspective comes from our education and our upbringing and our background. And every single one of our perspectives is different. And so the idea of being more empathetic, more willing to listen and hear the other side, and not argue and not fight with them and not try to point out all the things that are wrong about them, but ask questions, learn more, discover more. And I think by doing that, it's a much more peaceful world. Arguing opinions is never going to cause a friend. you're going to create a lot of enemies. You're going to create a lot of people that don't want to be around you, don't want to talk to you. And if you really want to learn more about this concept, one of the greatest books ever written, 1936 the book was written, Dale Carnegie wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. This book should be mandatory for all individuals to read at one point in time in their life. It is amazing. I think what would help make our community and even our world a little better place to live is for us to take a little more responsibility for our own actions. I feel like in this day and age we've got accustomed to looking for someone to blame. Every time something happens in the news, you'll always hear them talking about how far down can they go to point the blame. And I think it's kind of creeped its way into how we live our lives. We are always looking for someone to blame for all the things that go wrong. And when you do that, you really lose the opportunity to learn from that experience. If you think about all the greatest learning experiences in our life, most of them stem from something that we did. Something you did as a child or a mistake you made, and those are some great learning experiences. If you push them off and blame someone else for what happened, then you're going to lose the opportunity to learn from that experience. If I had to give some practical advice on any young person entering the workforce today, I would say don't get so focused on the starting wages. Look and see how much you can learn by being a part of that organization. I give you this advice because growing up, this is how it worked for me. In 1995, interviewed with VEC, we were an electrical contracting company, and even though I was going to YSU for electrical engineering, I knew nothing about construction or contracting. And so my request to Rex at the time was $4.50 an hour. Because I felt like at that rate, he would be willing to take a chance on me, someone who had no experience. And he did, and it paid off. And I was able to learn so much by being in the company. And just to go along with that, once I got in the company, nothing was beneath me. I was willing to do whatever it took, whether it was sweeping floors or working in the warehouse or washing trucks, running copies. Take on any challenge you can get. Learn every role that it takes to be in that organization, and you'll never regret it. One of my favorite quotes, it's three simple words. It comes from an ex-Navy SEAL, Jocko Willink, who has become an author now and also a business consultant, is that discipline is freedom. Freedom is so important to me. It's so important to so many people. Our nation was born on the idea of freedom. And the idea, though, is that discipline is freedom, meaning, in other words, my actions, my decisions are what is going to provide me with freedom. Freedom from spending time in hospitals, freedom from staying out of prison, freedom from being in a situation where I'm unhealthy or I'm in an unhealthy environment. Those all can be choices that you make. Those are decisions you make by the things you do, by the actions you take. And so discipline really is freedom. If you want to get further ahead in the company, get up earlier, read more books, learn more about the organization. There's so many different things you can do, and it starts with your own discipline.